I know they took their boots. That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white with strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up on for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably at 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
I know they took their boots. Pink for Lily. Blue with dinosaurs for Jack. That's what stepfather Daniel said. Those words, spoken with such certainty. Such detail. Such knowledge. But here's what makes them terrifying. The man who said them had already told police he never saw the children leave. So how does Daniel Martel know exactly what 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were wearing when they vanished without a trace? What you're about to witness isn't just a contradiction. It's potentially the most damaging slip of the tongue in recent Canadian criminal history. A 60-second confession that may have unraveled months of careful deception. Because when the stepfather of Lily and Jack Sullivan sat down in front of cameras, he may have revealed more than he realized. More than police wanted the public to know. More than the timeline can explain. This is True Crime O'Clock. Kindly comment below with your city. Subscribe to the channel to support our mission of investigating cold, missing cases. Hit the like button to energize the video, share it with loved ones, and drop your theories in the comments. Because in a missing persons case with no signs of forced entry, no confirmed sightings after May 1st, and a house that tells no story, the only thing we have left to examine are the people who spoke. A story where the only witnesses might also be the only suspects. And now, one of them is speaking a little too clearly. Why describe belongings you supposedly never saw them take? Why mention the condition of a backpack, if you weren't there to see it? And how do you know there were only 2 sets of boot prints? Unless you already knew who walked out of that yard, and who didn't. This wasn't just a case of poor wording. The man didn't hesitate. He listed the color of boots. The backpack pattern. Even imagined how dirty it might be by now. And yet, he had already told officers he never saw the kids leave. And it's not just what he said, it's when he said it. Because this clip wasn't filmed in the early days of panic. It aired nearly 2 months after the children vanished. 2 months of police interviews. 2 months of public appeals. 2 months of contradictory information. And suddenly, we're being told exactly what the kids were wearing when they vanished. So here's the question, is this a grieving stepfather trying to help, or someone who's forgotten the version of events he gave police? Because the moment this aired, the comment sections exploded. Dozens of viewers began cross-referencing his statements with earlier interviews. Some even pulled up RCMP briefings. And what they found was a crack. A break in the timeline. A sentence that doesn't fit. And in a case with no physical evidence, no abduction suspect, and no confirmed sighting after May 1st. Sometimes, one sentence is all it takes. And by the end of this documentary, you'll understand why a single sentence about children's boots may have just solved one of Canada's most baffling disappearances. Viewers, kindly allow me to do a quick recap of the backstory for the benefit of our new friends and subscribers. May 2nd, 2025. A Friday. Somewhere between the quiet backroads of Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, 2 children vanished. 6-year-old Lily Sullivan. 4-year-old Jack. No one saw them leave. No camera caught them running. No neighbor heard a scream. According to their parents, they were sick. Too sick to go to school. Too sick to be out of bed. And yet by 1 p.m. that day, Lily and Jack were gone. The parents say they napped. That the kids were watching cartoons. That when they woke up, the house was quiet. Too quiet. But if the kids were too weak to walk, how did they vanish without a trace? The RCMP launched an immediate ground search. helicopters, search dogs, heat sensors, drones. Over 100 search and rescue personnel flooded the remote property. Volunteers combed the dense brush and pipeline trails. Footprints were logged. Creeks scanned. Garbage bins opened. Within 24 hours, the case made national headlines. And within 72 hours, pressure mounted. Because despite dozens of professionals scouring the woods, no clothing was found. No backpacks. No discarded food wrappers. Nothing that said, 2 children had been out there. And then came a twist, a set of boot prints. One pair, with a dinosaur pattern. Blue. Small. Were they Jack's? Investigators never confirmed. But here's where things start to turn. Daniel Martel, the children's stepfather, told reporters something unexpected. That Lilly left wearing pink boots. That Jack wore the blue dinosaur ones. He described the exact design, color, texture. He even mentioned the location of the prints. About 10 feet from the house, in the backyard. But in previous interviews, Daniel said he didn't know what the kids were wearing. That he'd barely seen them that morning. So why the detail now? And why volunteer something so specific, if he wasn't sure? The RCMP didn't comment. But behind the scenes, analysts noted a contradiction. Daniel said they were both home, sick. That the children never made it outside. So how were their boot prints, from both kids, 10 feet from the back door? And if the prints are real, why did no search dog pick up their scent beyond the backyard? Why did no camera, no drone, no witness see them on the move? And just when the search looked like it was collapsing, another detail surfaced. Lily's backpack. Described as white with strawberries. Cute. Childlike. Daniel said she might have taken it. But then added something unusual. I don't see them keeping a pull-out one that long after it got soaked from the first day. How would he know it got soaked, if he didn't see them leave? And what does he mean by, first day? The children disappeared the same day the search began. There was no first day of them being missing, unless someone knew earlier than they said. So when exactly did Lilly and Jack vanish? And why do the details keep changing? Search teams, over 160 volunteers, RCMP police dog units, drones, helicopters, scoured nearly 5.5 square kilometers around Gairloch Road. They combed ravines, pipelines, tree lines, but found no trace of the children's presence beyond the backyard. Could 2 small children really wander off into deep forest, and leave behind zero evidence? Enter the sliding glass door. Daniel Martel described it as silent. In earlier interviews, they slid it open, and I didn't hear it. No latch noise. No impact. Just a soft glide. Expert trackers say this door could mask sound. But it should not erase footprints, or at least, 1 or 2 sets of boot tracks. And that's where the experts raise their eyebrows. Even if they wandered off, an experienced wilderness tracker told us, you'd expect brush on the ground to be disturbed. Moss to be broken. Plant life to show, they walked through. But in this case, nothing. Even the blue dinosaur boots Jack was reportedly wearing remain unaccounted for. And then came a tip. A single lead. Not from that morning, but from the evening before. Not May 2. May 1st. The RCMP later confirmed, Lilly and Jack were seen in public with family on the afternoon of May 1st. They were out of the house. They were seen, somewhere. With someone. And yet, where? With who? That remains undisclosed. That sighting disrupts the timeline. If they weren't home on May 1, then how could they vanish on May 2nd? It raises the core question of this investigation. Were Lilly and Jack even home the morning they disappeared? To this day, that public sighting, on May 1st, remains the last confirmed moment. We don't know where they were taken afterward. We don't know who saw them. But we do know this, The silence inside that house doesn't match the silence in the woods. When children vanish from their own home, the attention quickly turns inward, to those closest to them. In the case of Lilly and Jack Sullivan, that means two people. Their mother, Malihia Brooks Murray, and their stepfather, Daniel Martell. Their stories were consistent, until they weren't. Let's walk through the timeline. April 29, 2025, Lilly and Jack attend school for the last time. April 30th, a non-school day. May 1st, Daniel says they were homesick. Yet the RCMP confirmed, Lilly and Jack were seen in public with family that afternoon. May 2nd, the day they disappeared. So, where were they on May 1st? At home, or out in public? Daniel Martell publicly offered to take a polygraph test. And he apparently passed. But Canada doesn't allow polygraph results into court. They're investigative tools, not proof. Passing a polygraph doesn't mean innocence, it could mean you're prepared. Malihia and Daniel then declined joint interviews. Days after the disappearance, May 3rd, Malihia changed her Facebook status to single, removed pictures with Daniel, and blocked him. In the middle of a search for their children. He claimed there was an argument. They both confirmed tension. No official explanation on what it was about. But when a primary caregiver directly changes relationship status while a search is ongoing, it raises more questions than it answers. What was that argument, and why would a parent walk away mid-investigation? Daniel and Malihia have been interviewed multiple times by the RCMP. There have been dozens of witnesses, including family, friends, and neighbors, 54 people interviewed in total. And yet, no public suspect. No explanation for that May 1st sighting. No resolution to their relationship collapse. The moment heli blades cut through Nova Scotia's early air, another hunt began. But this time, it wasn't with dogs and drones, it was with evidence. Major crime, digital forensic services, truth verification, all activated. This wasn't just a missing persons file anymore. It was a digital criminal inquiry. Phones, tablets, laptops, cloud backups. Every device in the home, including those belonging to parents, was seized for analysis. What messages were being sent before May 2nd? Inside a secure lab, forensic specialists worked quietly. They didn't just extract data, they reconstructed it. Even deleted messages. Even wiped info. That's when something unusual surfaced. One of the seized devices had been factory reset. Entirely wiped. Not a glitch. Not erasure during normal use. A full reset. Why? When? By whom? RCMP sources have confirmed attempts to retrieve deleted content from cloud accounts. They recovered logs, timestamps, app usage. They can tell how many times a phone synced, who it was last connected to, even if photos were deleted. Encrypted message metadata. Browser history. Deleted folders. Fragments of chats, even after reset. And just when the digital trail seemed cold, one blockchain-style timestamp reappeared. Sent on May 1st, at 9:17 a.m. But from whose device? To this day, the RCMP hasn't confirmed. But a leak suggests it wasn't a child's account, or a random app. It belonged to someone inside the home. By June 11th, the RCMP had received 488 tips, nearly 500 leads from dash cams, surveillance footage, sightings, and public messages. Among these tips, some placed Lilly and Jack far from their home, on May 1st, the evening before they vanished. Could the children have been moved, before May 2nd? Calls came in, from drivers who saw two kids walking along the highway. From store clerks who recalled an adult buying lunch with two children matching their description. But none of these sightings could be confirmed. RCMP launched a dashcam and surveillance footage appeal. They asked everyone along Gairloch Road to check their cameras, from April 28 at 12 p.m. to May 2nd at 12 p.m., for anything unusual. Some drivers said they backtracked after hearing children's laughter. Another said she called police when she saw a child running in the woods. But when asked for evidence, they couldn't produce video. Their numbers? Mismatched. Their times? Unclear. Meanwhile, internet sleuths have flooded public Facebook groups dedicated to the case. They mapped sightings. They cross-referenced plate numbers. They theorized feverishly. In one thread, rapidly shared, someone suggested Lilly and Jack were seen near Truro, Nova Scotia, days after disappearance. But RCMP later confirmed no cameras or witnesses backed it up. One tip stood out, a cell phone capture of two children running across a yard, blurred, tinted, unconfirmed. The image was shared with RCMP, but RCMP refused to confirm if it featured Lilly or Jack. On July 10, 2025, the RCMP finally spoke again. No arrests. No suspects named. No dramatic revelation. But buried in their update was something new and urgent. They confirmed forensic data from digital devices was still being analyzed. They re-announced the $150,000 reward, urging the public for fresh information. Why relaunch the reward now, if no new suspect has been identified? Sources told CBC News and CTV Atlantic the data may include time-stamped messages exchanged before May 2 among adults in the household. But then police discovered something far worse. A single reference to a deleted message dated May 1, minutes before the children were last confirmed seen publicly. If messages exist from that day, what are they revealing? RCMP emphasized it's still classified as a missing persons case, with no evidence of abduction. Yet they also insisted, all avenues remain open. And insiders say the most damaging messages might not come from the children's phones at all. One source described a message contradicting the timeline given to investigators. It allegedly shows an adult stating the children were already outside, before May 2. So, did someone change the story? Former investigators, speaking off the record, now suggest this isn't just two children who wandered off. They point to criminal neglect. Maybe even intentional harm. A shift from missing persons to criminal inquiry. When a step-parent fills in the blanks, usually they know what they're covering. Or letting go. If negligence is on the table, logic says investigators must consider. Was there ongoing risk to the children before May 2? Why were there no confirmation of routine morning routines, breakfast, school runs, medications? Why so much silence after a Facebook status change, when two children were still missing? And just when you thought no new angle could surface. Investigators checked neighborhood cameras again, searching not for the kids, but for the adults in the home. Moments before May 2. What if the focus isn't on where Lilly and Jack were, but who they were with? It changes the narrative. From missing children, to vanished children under silent supervision. And when investigators shift their focus inward, that's not just police procedure. That's suspicion. We don't have a body. We don't have a confirmed sighting. But we have digital smoke. Evidence deleted. Devices wiped. Timelines that change depending on who's asked. And when. And in the absence of hard proof, what remains, is what someone went out of their way to erase. So the question becomes, if you're innocent, why delete anything? The digital forensic unit is still working. Still combing through logs, cloud accounts, metadata. Still trying to pull back whatever remnants may be recoverable. They're not just looking for a photo. Or a GPS ping. They're looking for the one message that tells a truth no one wanted on the record. Was that message erased because it placed someone at the scene? Or because it explained why the scene existed in the first place? Even after thousands of tips. Even after expert interviews, public pressure, and weeks of drone sweeps. There's still no confirmed trace of Lilly or Jack Sullivan. No clothing. No camera sighting. No credible witness. But someone, somewhere, had enough reason to hit factory reset. And if you believe that was done out of fear, not confusion, then you're not alone. But at its center, this case is not about speculation. It's about two missing children. Lily, just 6 years old. Jack, just 4. Children who didn't ask for any of this. Children who didn't vanish on their own. If someone erased those messages, what were they hiding? This was never just about what happened. It's about who's willing to tell the truth. And who is determined never to. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Lilly and Jack Sullivan, please contact RCMP at 1-800-803-7267 or Crime Stoppers. To this day, the real story behind that phone call remains a mystery. Do you believe this was a tragic accident, or something far more calculated? Let us know in the comments below. Your theory might be the one that breaks the silence. If you made it this far, thank you. Tap the like button if you believe Lily and Jack deserve answers. Subscribe to True Crime O'Clock, because when the next update drops, you'll want to be the first to know. And don't forget to share this video. Because someone, somewhere, knows exactly what happened. And they might finally be ready to talk.